Hello.
Welcome to the House of Pain.
Anyone there?
Can you hear me?
Is anyone there?
You sound really good on my end.
Hey, you can have any beer in this house as long as it's a Corona.
We just watched that movie again. It's on old Peacock.
Which one is it?
It's the first Fast and Furious.
I see faces.
I don't like his voice in that one. It's way too. I don't know how he does it, but I don't like it.
He's trying to be more hard, huh?
Yeah, I put on a little act. Like, he plays it good though. It's very believable.
Yeah, I think he's probably the most believable in the first one.
I think
the first one just has some teeth, man. It's like, it may just be nostalgia, and it was the first one of its kind, and everybody was kind of authentic. I think the next one was Too Fast, Too Furious, and it's like declining already. Yeah. And Tokyo Drift, I feel like they thought was going to just be a bust, and it ended up being pretty fucking good. And they're like, let's bring this bitch back.
Was it good? I've never watched Tokyo Drift. I never watched that one. Tokyo
Drift's so good, and it doesn't have any of the characters from the first two. But then I don't know if when they're I need to read it on this, but I don't know if when they're shooting, they're like, oh shit, this might be pretty good, and end up putting Vin Diesel at the end, to tie the next one in. And then those guys, I think 3 of those guys are in like the last couple they just had. They bring people back to life. They do all kinds of shit in those fucking, what do you call that now? It's not even
like sequels?
A saga.
Oh, saga.
Well, there's like 9 or there's 10 of them, I think. What do you even call that? It's not
I don't know. A series? A series? I don't know. It's almost like a series now.
It's safe to say it's a series, probably. But they're getting ridiculous.
I lost count basically after the second one. So I watched the first one where The Rock was introduced, and I don't even know where they are. They're like in Colombia or something. That's the last one I've watched. But I didn't watch like the couple before that, and I don't even know what number that one was. There's just too many. They're getting too it's not even realistic anymore.
We talked about how The Rock and Vin Diesel are just doing unhumanly things on these shows now. Like, I think at one point the Rock is holding a helicopter with a chain with one arm as he's holding the helicopter pad with his other arm, and he just starts to pull and the helicopter starts coming towards him. And that's one. And then the Rock jumps off this 5-story he jumps off this 5-story parking garage onto a car and rolls off, and he's like, damn it, doesn't break anything. He just gets back up. He's like, I'll have to get him next time. Like, that's good.
That's too much.
Getting out of hand, dude.
These movies, I told you I watched one with I think how you pronounce his name is Idris Elba, the Beast one, and it's about the lions where the family goes on a safari and they get attacked by this rogue lion. And it's very realistic. I mean, all the scenes were pretty, like, damn. Like, if I saw a lion attacking people, that would be it. Everything up to the last, 10 minutes of the movie is golden. And then you get to the last 10 minutes, and Idris Elba is, literally fighting one-on-one with a fucking lion. Like, all the attacks up to this point, the lion kills. None of the people get away. The lion attacks all these people and kills them instantaneously. But Idris Elba, he's able to roll around on the dirt and grab a knife and stab them backwards and do all this crazy shit. And the fight scene drags on for an uncomfortable amount of time. It's 2 or 3 minutes. All right, this is getting a little awkward now. We need to just close the scene out. It's no one told the director to say cut. It just kept going. So I don't know. It was a good movie
They
though.
just
We
forgot to take some of them scenes out, huh?
Yeah, I think there was
A
like
little bit, a little bit of fat on there,
they
huh?
forgot the copy or the blade out of Final Cut. Oh, how do you like this remote thing?
It's not enough lag for me to notice, but it's not me and you together like in the
Yeah,
same room.
that is a little
It's
weird.
not bad.
It's not
I feel like
great.
when I say something, it takes you a while to
Yeah.
like. It's either I'm not funny or it's a lag,
Well, you know how I feel about this.
and you're hearing it pretty clear. So I think maybe I'm not funny right now.
You know how I feel about these things.
I like your little brick setup. How do you like mine? You ever seen this one before? Is it weird looking on the other end?
No, I've seen it 100
No.
times.
Well, the what you're seeing is a lot different from what I got on my on my screen up above. So it looks like absolute shit on this little screen, probably like yours because I can see all the outskirts of your room.
Yeah.
But maybe on this little screen up here looks pretty damn good.
You know how many times Candace or Kelly will walk right there
Mm-mm.
when I'm recording? Oh, it's like I, I won't have anything going on for 3 days. No one ventures here at all. No one comes to this side of the house. The minute I turn my laptop on and my camera on, it's a fucking like stampede. They're just going up and down the stairs. Candace is doing cartwheels down the stairs here, and
Yeah.
there's flying kites down here. Like it's just it's a lot of activity going on. The minute I turn on the laptop,
Yeah, you're in a pass through room right now. So
yeah,
nature of the beast, huh?
yeah, it comes with the
No pun
territory.
intended.
It comes with the
No pun
territory.
intended on the Lion movie, huh? You like that one a little bit,
no,
huh? I slipped that one,
no,
didn't I?
that was a sympathetic laugh.
Yeah, I'll take it.
That was
Have you seen the new Elvis movie?
no, I want to though.
You need to get that app that I told you about. A
I was
nice one.
I was telling Kelly about it.
Yeah, I get it because it's free and you'd be stupid to not do it. But
Did you try the Elvis one on it? Could you?
oh, no, everything's good. There's no it's not like I don't think it's bootleg. I feel like it's a real movie. I mean, it looks no different than if you were to stream it from Netflix or something. So, anyways, we watched the movie, and like Elvis was like a big deal for a long time. Still is a big deal. And my mom was around when he was kind of big, so she watched it, and they paint a different picture with this because they really highlight Elvis's manager,
Hmm.
and apparently Elvis's manager kind of screwed him over a little bit throughout his whole career. I think he was collecting like 50% of the money of his money the whole time under contract, and I think Elvis didn't really pay attention in the beginning, and at some point Elvis just ran out of money, and but oh boy was getting 50%, and he would do contracts behind his back and kind of lock him in. At one point he wrote a contract, he signed a contract for him to perform in Vegas, but he had to do it every weekend. And there was like a little kickback for the manager because he was kind of a crazy, gambler. So he had many debts. So his end of the deal was unlimited credit. So that if Elvis came every week to perform at this particular hotel, then he would have like a full line of credit and be able to gamble or whatever. But so Elvis always wanted to go international and perform, but his manager kept him in the United States for that reason. It was kind of the story. But my mom's just like in disbelief. She's like, no, that's not Elvis. No, I don't believe this story. And
Really?
Courtney said the grandparents too, that her grandparents watched it and they're like, no, the Elvis wouldn't do that. Like they know Elvis like person.
Personally,
And by the end, my mom's like, you need to watch this other one. This one's not right. And I was like, and Tom Hanks plays the manager. So it's
hmm.
like there's like some legitimacy there.
I don't like
And I
Tom
was,
Hanks.
well, I mean, I don't think he'd take a role that wasn't like legitimate. So I don't know. I could be full of shit, but I asked my mom, I said, do you think Tom Hanks would play in this movie if it was like just a bunch of lies? I said, they got information from Elvis's wife, his daughter, like all these people. This actor that's like everybody's goo over went to Graceland and like got the whole spiel and got a lot of background history. So it was pretty good. But my mom, I don't think liked it because it wasn't what it's not what she thought Elvis was, and it's not the story that she thought. She didn't know that certain things were going on, like with his dad and his mom and all kinds of stuff. But it shows him getting screwed over pretty good. If it's true, it's pretty messed up. But then again, I don't know if Elvis would have ever been as big if that guy never, promoted him, found him, because that dude's still big right now,
Mm-hmm.
I think they say that he's sold the most records out of a single artist. It's like still to this day.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they say. So
That's
I have
bigger
to
than
Google
Michael
it.
Jackson. I thought Michael Jackson had. Let's do a little
I
Google, huh?
want to a little gander, huh?
Let's do a little Google.
I'll do a little talking, you do a little Google.
The number one selling recording artist.
And this guy that plays Elvis is like, I think he's real popular right now. But that's another thing. He doesn't look completely like Elvis. Is it right?
Dude. So according to Wikipedia,
I trust that.
Elvis Presley is considered the highest selling individual artist based on sales claims, and Drake is the highest selling individual artist based on certified units.
What's the difference between those two?
I don't know. I was trying to get into the nitty gritty.
That's kind of crazy. It's either Elvis or fucking Drake.
Yeah.
I figured someone, yeah, like Michael Jackson or like,
Yeah.
I thought there were more people in between
This
Elvis and Drake.
this other one, if we go by units, which I'm assuming units means, one thing that I didn't see is Garth Brooks in here. So let's see what units means. It would be somewhat shocking to find out, for instance, that country star Garth Brooks has sold more than Elvis Presley and Michael Jackson. So this is this is by units. So the 50 best-selling, this is from March 9th, 2022 from Business Insider. The 50 best-selling musical artists of all time. Number 1 is the Beatles, and that's 183 million units. Number 2 is Garth Brooks.
Is that CDs and records, or what are units?
I think records and CDs.
Maybe downloads.
I don't know, maybe. And then Elvis is number 3, right behind Garth Brooks, is at 146.5 million. And then you got the Eagles. Let's just round out the top 10. Led Zeppelin at number 5, Michael Jackson at number 6, Billy Joel. Bill, you got number 8, Elton John. I don't know how to do it now.
You're the last one. And the last.
Yeah, and number 9 is AC/DC at 75 million units, and number 10 is Pink Floyd.
See,
75.
That's why they normally do the countdowns.
Pink Floyd and number 10.
And I know you're ready for number 8. Here it goes, fellas. I know y'all been waiting on it.
And listeners, caller number 9.
It's always 9, huh?
Yeah, I don't know why it was caller number 9. Yeah, Garth Brooks, dude. There's a documentary on Netflix that Garth Brooks is in. And yeah, he's an amazing singer, dude. Like, he's probably like obviously, like, he's probably one of the most talented individuals, like musical artist of all time, like with Michael Jackson and all them. But yeah, with Elvis,
I'm a big fan.
Yeah, he's good, dude. Like singing those ballads, how he does, those country ballads. Dude.
You know why he retired initially, right?
I thought was to be with his family.
Yeah, like he was on top, and then he made a promise after a certain point he was going to wait until the kids graduate, and at that point that's when he kind of made a comeback. Like, I don't know, 10 years ago or something, he made this huge comeback, and he's touring right now and stuff. But I mean, when he came back, we're like, what the hell? But he let so many years go by. You remember how he was? He'd be running around stage, climbing up on shit,
Yeah.
screaming. But when he came back, he still was just as talented, but he wasn't that young buck anymore running around.
Hmm. The
I'm surprised George Strait isn't in that list.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he didn't. George Strait has never really transcended across country though. Like George Strait in country music is like amazing. But let's see where he's at. I'm sure he's on the top 50. Yeah, so George Strait is number 12. At 69 million. At 69 million units.
Who's at 20? I gotta know.
20. Let's go. Madonna 17, 18 Metallica, 19 is Eminem, and number 20 is Whitney Houston.
Is MGK above Eminem?
U2 is 23. Celine Dion 24.
What about Selena, dude? Is she in the top?
I don't
top 20?
think so. Let's see. No, dude. Alabama, the group Alabama is at 26. Journey 49, or is that 27? Let's see. Shania Twain's at 29.
I feel like that list a little subjective, man.
I mean, this is by units. So if they're listing, how many units were sold, then
what did you find out for units? We don't really know that, right?
Yeah,
is it
I really
downloads
don't,
too?
I really
downloads
don't. I really don't know.
Sense.
Let's see. Okay, so Insider turned to the Recording Industry Association of America list to find out who is in the top 50. The list is based on total certified album units sold in the U.S., including streaming. So it does include streaming.
Do you think for a streaming unit, you have to listen to the whole song?
It's a good question.
Or do you think it fractionalizes all of it and adds it to where it's like you'll get like some decimals of like, or do you have to listen to the whole song to the end?
I don't think you have to listen to them. I think there's a certain, I know like in the radio days, they had to listen for a certain amount of time. So it could be like, even if like we look at our like podcasting metrics, like I think a legitimate click, a listen, or even if you accidentally hit play and don't mean to, I think that counts as a download or a listen.
Because before units is like it's a lot harder to get units back in the day because you'd have to buy the album like $19 an album or whatever, however much it was, and then records had a price too, and now you just pay this monthly subscription. You just hit these buttons all day. It's like I feel like you really had to want the album to buy it, and then it was harder for those artists to get those numbers. It's crazy. Did you watch that Rogan with Protective Parks 5?
I was just about to bring that up actually, where they're talking about the movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're saying how since we don't have DVDs, VHSs, Blu-rays, like it really matters that a movie does well in the theaters because there's really no afterlife for the movie like there was when sometimes the movie didn't do well in the theaters, but then it'd do better when it went to DVD. Remember some people like I'll just wait for it to come out on DVD.
Yeah.
And so they're those people that were consuming, and oftentimes they pay more for the DVD than to go to go watch it in theaters. So they get a lot more money from the DVD sales, and some things would like spike, 10 years after because it become nostalgic, and people would just buy up, Office Space or those cult classics.
Yeah, I think
so that was kind of interesting about that.
I think The Mask was one of those movies. Like basically all those 90 comedy movies were some of them were busts in movie theaters, but ended up doing really well on the DVDs. So
yeah, and I think they were spitting off some movies from exactly 1994, and they were just like bombs.
Yeah.
Like all the crap you listen, like all the
Yeah.
crap you watch
I
all the time.
know. Those are golden,
Yeah.
dude. Those are golden fucking movies.
I wonder why there's so much talent in the 90s like that. I mean, maybe they're just important to us because we grew up on them, you know? Maybe, maybe the kids now wouldn't enjoy them because it's not part of their generation.
I think I forget what actor they were saying said that. It was like Tom Cruise. It was one of those, the older, like on top actors that was saying, or I think it was Matt Damon. Matt Damon was saying that everyone's afraid to invest in movies and make a movie because it needs to be a hit, like you were saying in the theaters. But there's also the other edge. Like, we had like no ceilings in our movies. There was no like boundaries that wouldn't be crossed. Like, you know, like the name calling in movies, the really like homophobic or transphobic jokes in movies. Like, you can't make those type of movies these days, or at least actors that are in Hollywood that are popular, they're not going to want to be in those movies.
Yeah. I wonder what do you think, what do you think that means though? They're less entertaining or
I think it'll be I think like this is just the era that we're in right now, and there's a slow tide building, and it'll revert back and it'll go to the extreme. I think just like I think like we're kind of in this extreme space where, you know, it's like even like the white people are more against racism than like uh the minority demographics are. Like, you see more white people like protesting against like police violence and for Black Lives Matter and for things like that. Like, it's like just this woke ideology, like waving a flag, I'm on your side kind of thing. And that's just where we're at right now. But there's like this slow wave of people coming that are trying to shift that back. And I think of Andrew Tate as like the perfect example. Like, he's ultra on the other side of the spectrum, but he like people are starting to like, oh shit, this guy kind of has some good points. Like, he's making some good shit. Um, they're calling him kind of what's the opposite of a feminist? What is
masculine.
yeah, they're calling him toxic masculine, because of some of the things he's saying about how he treats his girlfriends, or how he tells them to cook for him. Like, yeah, I'm not saying I agree with him, but somewhere in the middle of like Andrew Tate and like half of Hollywood, like that's where like the good thing, or the funny moments are going to exist, and no one wants to make content like that right now, unless you're a comedian.
Yeah. I think the people that are doing what he's doing are getting popular quick because it's like that shock factor.
Mm.
And so they're just saying just crazy shit. And then kind of like, you know, like the Liver King, like he's saying things that it's not like it's not really like Tate, but he's saying shit that nobody's ever heard of, like, and saying to eat things that we never once talked about before. And so it's like people are interested in it because it's new and different. And, you know, with how we've shifted, kind of like you were talking about, he's coming and talking about, you know, women doing this and that for him,
Yeah.
when it's kind of like shush, everybody's starting to listen. They're like, what is he saying? You know, they're interested in it because it's like taboo right now.
A
Not
lot.
necessarily because people believe it, but it's just like, oh shit, he's saying things that, you know, you're not supposed to be saying.
I think there's a certain segment of the population that actually kind of agrees with him, though. That's kind of why he's popular. I think there's a shock factor too. Like, I 100% agree with you, but I think there's a certain percentage of the population that won't say they necessarily agree with him. They won't say like they'll back him or support him, but they like what he's saying. Like, secretly behind closed doors, they're like, dude, this guy's saying something. Like, he's on the right path. You know what I mean?
Like, give him a little follow,
Yeah. What's
huh?
he's become like the new Gary V.
Yeah.
You know,
I haven't, Yeah, I haven't really watched this guy too much, but I remember you telling me about him, so
Gary
I
Vee,
got the
dude.
gist of kind of what he does.
Oh yeah,
Like,
you don't know
I
Gary
know
Vee.
Gary Vee. I'm talking about the Tate
Okay.
guy,
Okay.
but yeah, Gary Vee just goes on tangents. I think you thoroughly enjoy people that can go on rants.
Yeah,
I think you like ranters.
I think that's my thing. I like someone who can go on like take a subject that's kind of not funny and make it funny in a way. And maybe that's not even it. Just someone that can talk about something like in a introspective, like nuanced way from all different angles. And that's something that Gary Vee is really good at doing. Like he breaks down. This last one I watched was about YouTube Shorts, and I enjoy his filming crew too, because his filming crew, like, it's always at a camera angle like 45 degrees. It's never like straight on, and he's always comfortable in a seat or a chair or some kind of sofa, and he's just talking to like a small, it's never a large group, it's like a small group of kids, and it's like YouTube Shorts. If you ask me where I need to invest my time right now, YouTube Shorts. Start making content. The more content you make on YouTube Shorts, you're gonna it's gonna compound on itself, and you know how compounding works. Compound brings the interest, and interest brings extreme dividends. Like he says this crazy stuff that
Oh
makes
my
sense.
god.
It makes sense though. Like you're like, oh shit. And then you get hyped up, or at least I get hyped up for like 30 minutes, and I'm like, man, that dude's on something. And then it starts wearing off a little bit. I'm like, that guy's so full of shit. Like, like he's
It's one of those people who can, like, yeah, that makes sense, but it doesn't necessarily like equate to money for everybody. Not everybody. There's people that nobody wants to watch. You can do 100,000 shorts and it's not going to bring in dividends. Like, it's like, but yeah, he's saying it like it's, cash or something.
uh,
I understand though. I mean, we're getting into the content world where maybe this is going to be people's livelihood of maybe it's all going to be our livelihood, because when we talk about artificial intelligence and really not the need for manual labor anymore. What a lot of things predict, especially like the movie Black Mirror, or not movie, but the series Mirror, some other I guess dystopian type of movies. They always show like this is kind of what we're good for, is like creating content, and that's kind of how we make our money, is by likes and views and things like that. I wonder if that's because that wrapped up with cryptocurrency. If cryptocurrency was widely accepted, that could be likes and views. You could get a little bit of cryptocurrency in that for that, but then it gets into that social what is that China program, social
credit score.
yeah, so like social credit score, to where those certain metrics are build a way that like when the government gets involved with social media and things like that, then you're giving credit to, like, for good behavior almost.
Hmm.
And if you start, say, like in this world, if you start talking a little bit more right, maybe you don't get the cryptocurrency, and maybe if you talk a little bit more left, you do a little better, and then maybe that's just kind of the way of life, and that's like, and so whatever's like the narrative at that time, if the more the closer you get, the more wealthy you get, and then it starts changing people's minds, and that's how, because they don't want to they don't want to not eat or whatever, or not have nice things or whatever, and so they go closer and closer to like the government's narrative, to where that's they're doing it more or less to get more money. I don't know. That could be it.
Yeah.
What do
I
you think?
I don't know, man. I have like a two-sided, like, I'm on the fence of thinking that it's going that way with the social credit score. We're all going to be some type of computer integrated person being. But I really believe that there will be a holdout from certain, like a certain segment of the population, and it's going to be valuable to know how to do stuff still. Like, we were talking about this morning about my younger kids not knowing, like, one of them not knowing how to do stuff. And they know how to do stuff technologically. On the phone, they're really good, and even on a computer, they're okay. And I think, like, the more that you expose the younger generation to actually doing stuff, the more, like, resistant it's going to be. The harder it's going to be to, like, integrate the human into the computer world, like, where you can't distinguish one from the other. I think the more we're able to do, like, manual stuff, like, I don't know, like chop trees down or do electrical work or, like, learn, like, fix stuff. Like, just doing stuff manually that requires our hands and our minds. I think those type of human beings are going to, like, excel in life long term over the people that are just computer savvy. And I think that if the world, like, I still, like, this is a doomsday way of thinking, but if the world, like we kind of saw it through with the pandemic, like, the people that like don't hunt, that don't know how to provide for themselves, they were in a world of hurt the last couple of years with the pandemic. Like, not, like, luckily, like, fast food joints and places like that were open so they could get food, but the people that knew how to provide for themselves, that were, hunting, that were growing their own, like, vegetables and fruits, like, I don't think they had much impact, and so there's, like, part of me that believes, like, staying close to our, like, ancestral roots will benefit us more in the long run. But I still believe, like, at any moment shit could pop off, right? With, like, everything happening with North Korea and Ukraine. We're at, like, at any given moment, depending on what the news cycle does, we're on the verge of a civil war sometimes. Like, it got, like, think about, like, how many protests were happening, like, during the middle of the pandemic. Like, it got pretty crazy where cities and like, police departments and the government buildings were on fire. Like, it was, like, on the verge of some rocky shit there for a little bit. And it doesn't take much to tip us over. All of it takes is, like, a bad news story or a false news report to come out to tip a certain segment of the population to one way or another.
What if in 50 years, you're having this, you're talking about, like, people don't know chop trees or something, and the same person, so you 50 years from now, like, maybe your son or something is saying, we're gonna need to have our roots, like, we're gonna need to know how to script a function for a robot to cut a tree down. Like, if you don't know how to do a simple script like that, how are you gonna cut trees?
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
what if it's like that? Or, it's, or, like, say everybody has this Neuralink, and it's like everybody can just download this shit, right? Like, how to wash dishes downloaded, and then you got these people that are resistant about to the Neuralink, and they're like, "Fuck, man, this guy don't have Neuralink. We got to teach him. We got to teach him manually. Like, we have to show him 100 times, and he might get it. I wish he could download it." And then those people, might not get jobs as easy because they're more difficult to work with. But maybe have a movement where it's like, they're treating people without Neuralink different,
Yeah.
you have to hire so many people that don't have Neuralink. We could get into some weird stuff that way too. But if that thing does what it says it's going to do, and you basically have access to the World Wide Web, and you're able to download things, and you're able to correct, genetic dispositions and things like that. That's going to be pretty nuts. You'd be kind of dumb not to get it. But I mean, I don't know. It's scary too. You definitely wait for the first couple generations to go by.
I'll wait till the firmware update comes in. That stuff is cool. Like, healing like a neurological disorder, or making someone have better speech patterns, or healing Alzheimer's or something like that. Like that stuff is really awesome. This other stuff that gets tricky though is you'll be able to supposedly hear people think, right? If people heard what I thought, I'd be fucked. You know what I mean? Like, I have some crazy shit that pops in my head sometimes. A lot of the times, like 99.9% of the time, I'm walking around, I got some crazy shit going on in my head. Like, if people heard that, they'd be like, fuck, like, what's going on? But it doesn't mean I act on them all the time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a thought.
Yeah.
It's a thought that pops up in my head, and I'm like, oh shit, that'd be funny. Or, oh shit, like, a certain person will walk in the room, and like an unbiased thought comes in my head, right? Like, that doesn't mean I'm that person. It just means that this thought popped in my head. Now, whether I choose to act on that thought is different. But if you really have the ability to read or hear people's thoughts, I think that changes the fucking game. Because we're gonna I think everyone has fucked up thoughts going on in their head.
Yeah, I don't think you have nothing to worry about because you'll notice that probably everybody has fucked up thoughts.
Yeah,
I think it'd be fun, for at least a day, right?
yeah,
Like maybe forever, but at least one day they're like, hey, everybody's be able to read everybody's thoughts. That'd be a fun little day because I would go to the people that know kind of, I don't know, you can see what girls think or
yeah.
like what your in-laws think or your kids, like maybe you can see what Lino thinks about you.
Oh, I know he loves me. Can you imagine
What if he
being?
didn't?
Yeah,
He's like, fuck, this
he's
motherfucker's coming back.
he's putting up.
Better have some food.
He puts up a front. Can you know
Yeah.
what that reminds me of? What's that Mel Gibson movie where he
What women think?
what women want?
Yeah, maybe that.
Yeah, I think it's What Women Want, and he like
I thought that was cool.
that was a good movie, dude. He starts
Oh, damn,
popping.
that's a hell of an advantage.
He starts popping like she's looking at his crotch. She's like, "Oh no, I looked at his crotch," and he's like, he does a little pop, like that's shit that I would do. I would do that shit. I'd walk around and like see what this girl's thinking about, see what my boss is thinking about.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think it'd be cool for at least a day. And then after that day, everybody has to forget what happened.
Would it
That'd
be like
pretty cool?
like the purge? Like you get like 24 hours to do something?
You would learn so much about a person in 24 hours,
Yeah.
like more than you ever would, because there's so many walls that people put up
Yeah.
and they're a different person or whatever. But if you were able to, kind of see through that, you would learn a lot about that person. You may not even be friends with them anymore, or you may even be more friends with them.
Yeah.
There's no telling what type of communication we're missing out on from like hiding emotions and things like that. We're just kind of giving people, what we manufacture externally from our bodies. So it's like there's so much hidden,
Yeah.
from social agreements or whatever it is. But with Neuralink, the thing I'm scared about, if it has access to everything, then you can be hacked. People can go in and make you think one thing or make you physically do things. If it has that type of control, and same with everything being connected to everything. Autonomous cars, it could take your brakes out, or they can run you off the road, or if you say the wrong thing on the internet, it's like, can make you run into shit or run into someone, frame you for something. It's like if everything's accessible from the internet, then anybody can hack in and manipulate it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like with this ransomware that's been going around. It's like, if you can get in, you can act, with like the chemical plants and things like that, you start opening valves and, or shut down the process and, ask for $1 billion, and they could even wire you the billion. Once it's wired, it's gone. So once they wire you, you could just continue keeping it off and ask for more money. It's like, it's scary stuff.
Yeah.
Because, people get hacked all the time. Like people hack into people's email and then change an email, like the actual sender email by like one letter. and then say like you're gonna buy. Hopefully, you're smarter than this, but I've heard of situations where someone's gonna wire money for like buying property, and someone is watching out for those emails and fabricates an email that looks just like the one that was sent, but changes like a letter in the email address, and they change the routing number. And so, but once the wire transfer is gone, it's undetectable pretty much. So it's like once they, because this guy that I know was sending like $140,000 for this property, and he sent it, but somehow it got flagged in between,
Yeah.
and it had to be approved. And he called right in the nick of time and said, "Hey, this is going to the wrong place." And they said, "Hey, we don't know for sure if it's going to go back to you. Like we don't know if it's going to continue on." And luckily it went back to his bank account, but he would have just lost it because there's no way to find out where it went, who it was, anything like that. And in a lot of situations.
That was one of your friends?
Mm-hmm.
What a fucking idiot. No.
His name's John Alba. Sorry, I told you a story.
Ah, damn it. What a fucking moron.
Those are just like simple little hacks that people are doing. Like you wouldn't know any different. It's what, if you're like John Alba and then I put an H on your name, and like maybe we don't conversate a lot, or maybe we do, and I don't look at your email address. I assume it's you if you pop up. Pretty much if I put A in there, it comes up,
Yeah.
It's crazy. So that's like a quick little way to make a money. I heard that they do that, corporations too. They'll find a way in. Someone will click a link and they'll get in, and they can kind of get in the emails and see when there's like unpaid invoices and change the routing numbers up, and ask, we haven't been paid, and it's like 300,000. And you just got some regular people like, hey, we just need to get this invoice paid, and they're like talking amongst each other.
Yeah.
It's not their company. They're just trying to like move the next cog, trying to figure out how to just pay it. They pay it and it goes to someone else. It's untrackable.
And then you get a call like 10 years later or 10 months later, like, hey, we still haven't got paid for this.
Yeah. Like, shit, I thought we paid them. But they don't, they're just going to push it through again. They could pay the same person twice.
Yeah.
It's some of these big corporations, they're just trying to get that thing paid. The people that, like do the requisitions and do the purchase order updates and things, they're just trying to get it done.
Yeah. They don't care who it goes to.
Give me a name and I'm going to send this to you, and then get off my back.
Yeah.
Kind of, a small company probably won't fall for that stuff, but corporations just writing checks all day.
Can you imagine how much wasted money like goes on just in the one area that we were in? Like how much wasted money, and you take that, like you times that on, like you start looking at the next department or the next group. Like it started to add up really quick for major corporations like that.
Well, it's just some of the employees don't have any pride in their work, or like they don't look into things, and you have some bad apples that were just they're not looking at what they're doing. They're just trying to get these tasks done, and I don't know, they're not paying attention to what they're doing.
Have you ever been hacked or almost hacked on your bank account?
Not my bank account, but I feel like my email was hacked.
Your Gmail?
I don't click links. Like I don't do the things that normally will get you.
Yeah.
But I thought I got hacked because I started getting texts, and it was like your PayPal has been logged into or compromised or something. But then it had a, like, oh, check here at the link, and I was like, fuck no.
Yeah.
And I just, when I get that kind of thing, I just go and I change my password on whatever thing it's referencing, just in case.
Yeah.
And I don't ever see any money loss or or anything like that. No, I try. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty good about that. There's so many scammers out, especially like insurance companies and things like that. It's like there's so many things that we deal with every day. It's like, okay, that's someone trying to get something. The bad thing is like people that get calls on their phones from like insurance companies are like, you got this outstanding bill or something. It's like their target audience is typically the elderly, man.
Yeah.
And they get a little worked up and they're like, oh, well, I got to pay. And they get their, bank information out, give them whatever. And they got taken. It's like, it's sad. These are people's businesses. This is things that how they make their money. They just cold call people and say that they owe money. It's crazy.
I love when I get, those calls will start happening to me like around tax season. I'll get like, hey, you didn't file your taxes. Like there's been like it's kind of scary because they almost know when you file. I don't know if you get those calls, but I'll get one or two, like, and there'll be a person and it sounds like a call center. There's a bunch of talking going on in the background, and I'll do like the Jerry Seinfeld skit, like, well, hey, why don't you give me your number and I'll call you back? And because I'm eating dinner right now, I'll call you right back. They're like, oh, well, we can't give you our number, sir. And I'm like, oh, well, you don't want me bothering at your house? They're like, no. And I'm like, well, then quit fucking bothering me, and I'll like hang up. Some shit like that.
Not bad, huh?
Not bad. I think.
But just give me your personal number. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I think verbatim that's Jerry Seinfeld. I think that's where I got that from. But that's like my go-to. Like, just give me your cell phone number. I'll call you right back. I'll call you right back. I'm on the other line. I'll call you right back. Like,
I think if people listen to this, they're gonna adopt that.
You think so? Good. Well, I bet everyone that listens to us probably watches Seinfeld. So
yeah, that's pretty doubtful.
I think all the smart people watch Seinfeld, and if they don't, they are now.
Why do you watch it?
Oh, because I'm a genius. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How much time we got?
I don't know. I don't know what time I started. I'm showing on my old Zoom. We're 46 minutes in, but we're probably 45 minutes in then. Maybe 40 minutes in.
Okay.
Anything else you want to hit on?
I think we need to end with a special that you're going to provide. My favorite.
What? What's the special?
The Grease scene with John Travolta talking to Sandy.
Oh, dang.
Come on. You remember he's like, maybe you could check the yellow pages. I'll be Sandy, dude. I don't even think she does anything. She's just appalled the whole time.
What is the... Well, I don't know. Take out a missing person ad. I don't know.
I was rocking and rolling.
Oh, yeah. They're at the football game. He's
like Sandy. So the scene is Sandy's there.
Yeah.
He doesn't know Sandy's there. Rizzo brings John. What's his name?
Rizzo.
Danny. Brings Danny.
Yeah.
He's like, check this. You remember her or some shit?
You remember her? He's like, Sandy. And he's like, Danny. He's like, I thought you were going to go move back to the beach or something like that. And she's like, my dad. Well, what did she say? My dad, we had a change of plans. And then his friends walk up. His friends like...
And he kind of notices.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, well, that's cool, baby. That's, how it goes. You rocking and rolling. And she's like, Danny, what's the matter with you? He's like, you know how it is. You know how it is. Like, going and, I don't know. What happened to the Danny Zuko I met at the beach? Well, I do not know. Maybe there's two of us. Take out a missing person ad or try the yellow pages. I don't know.
And what did she say at the end?
She's like, you're a fake and you're phony, and I wish I never laid eyes on you. He's like, and then his friend says, yeah, I bet that's not all she laid her eyes on, or something like that. Right?
That guy always has the one-liners, right? Like, yeah. Does he? What was that? There's one of those songs that goes, does she have a friend or some shit? Yeah.
Summer moment happened so fast. Oh, summer loving. Summer loving happened so fast. I met a girl crazy for me. And then what is it? Does she have a friend? I'm trying to remember that part. Does she have
What about at the end of that end of that song where he does that high note and he's like,
and he puts his hand up. Something like that.
Do you think that was planned? They're like, all right, well, I'm gonna hit this note and then I'm gonna hit one octave higher. Like, I'm just gonna and put my hand up. Like,
dude, it's John Travolta, dude. Like, he's fucking good. Like,
there was some Saturday Night Fever in that stance at the end.
Yeah, 100%. Oh yeah,
That's a good movie too.
that's a really good movie. All those,
Golly,
dude. I'm a like John Travolta, like anything. If John Travolta's on or Sylvester Stallone, like those are my guys. And Denzel Washington.
you just keep naming.
I feel like I have to. I feel like so I can't be racist. I have to throw a colored person in there. And I like George Lopez too. So I got all the races in there. And I like Jackie. I like Jackie Chan.
Shut the fuck up.
Gotta cover all my bases here.
George Lopez even do anything anymore?
Man, he's in a movie that's getting released, but it's not too big. He got pretty like political in the George Bush days, and I think it turned off a lot of people. He went from like telling jokes about the Mexican culture and that shit was funny to just being hardcore like liberal jokes, like bashing on Republicans, and some of it's funny, but like if that's what your main course is, like it gets a little much at the time. I think that's what got him unpopular. But then he also had that big show too, the George Lopez show, that series, which was I mean that went on for a long time, I feel like. And then he was on the late night talk show too. He had for a while.
Yeah, he did have that for a while. I remember seeing him after the George Lopez show, and he did a movie, and he had a fucking beard, and I was like, and it looked good.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like, why didn't he have this beard the whole time? He always clean shaven, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of like Rogan. Like Rogan grows a really good beard, but he never has it.
Yeah.
You try to look like a badass though. Why don't you just rock the beard, dude?
I think
he grows it up to his damn eyeballs too, so it'd be even cooler.
Yeah, he says he's like, I got hair all the way up to my goddamn eyeballs, man. I'm a fucking monkey, man. Like, yeah.
I'm starting to get shit pretty high too. Right here is where it stops.
Really?
But I shave it. Yeah, it's getting higher and higher, and more shave it. So I might get kind of furry too.
Maybe I'll start catching up with you because I'm getting more hair on my back now.
Yeah, once you get on your back, it'll start getting more prolific on your face.
I think that's the move, because it's I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's the carnivore or the cold plunge, but my back's getting hairy, man.
Golly, you probably got too much fucking testosterone, dude. You fucking growing hair in your
oozing out. It's just oozing out of me.
Yeah.
How'd you like
How'd
you like the remote thing?
It's not bad.
I think it's pretty good.
Kind of weird sitting in here by myself talking to a computer.
Yeah.
But it's there's not a whole lot of lag, so we'll probably do it again. Yeah, it's good for these little moments where I'm, going out of town and you're gonna be out of town, and we kind of shit. If you bring your shit, we could, and you have good Wi-Fi, we could probably do this shit anywhere.
I basically take the podcast with me wherever I go.
Yeah, because you got that little mixer.
Yeah, dude, it's nice. You should get one.
I'm interested in see how this goes. I think, I'll send it to you or whatever.
Send it to me on the old Google Drive, and I'll work up some magic this weekend with it. I'm
interested to see what it's gonna look pretty cool. I mean,
I think so.
Got both our little places,
Yeah.
I think you got your brick wall. You got all these knickknacks. You probably never seen this, huh?
No. I'll let Candace pick the color today.
Yeah.
She picked yellow.
Looks good on you.
I thought it was a good color choice, so I'll let it go. I didn't fight her.
I like the lamp. You ever turn the lamp on, or is it just decoration?
It's just there.
Yeah.
We really have.
Does it even have a bulb in it?
I don't know, actually. Yeah, it's got a bulb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's usually over here, which you could probably see.
I think it looks better over there.
You think it looks better over there? But it's off my camera, so I have it like right.
Yeah, so I don't know what your frame looks like. It probably looks good in your frame. That's why you have it there.
Yeah, it looks like right now it's just a cunt hair in my frame, basically. A CH into it. Is that too much?
That's more like it.
Okay.
All right, buddy. This was fun.
Yeah, let's do it again. Let's make this a regular thing.
Good luck doing your homework that you have to actually do.
Yeah, I actually have to log in here in a little bit. Can't cheat on this one. So.
We need to give a formal complaint to Chegg, Quizlet, Course Hero. Well, what's one more?
When they're
I need 4.
When you're Course Hero, Quizlet. There's this engineering one that I use from time to time.
What's the math one?
Mathway.
Mathway.
Mathway is a good one.
Mathway.
I'll recommend Mathway. Recommend, like, if you're a college student and you're in the weeds, Mathway is where you want to go.
If you're in a 9-line bind.
If you're half past the monkey's ass and your shoelaces are untied, you gotta check out
Someone
Mathway.
cut the lights out on you. You might want to check out Mathway.
Yeah, if you dropped a,
if you dropped the soap in the shower and your butt's a little dirty, you might want to
go to Mathway. That sounds like a redneck joke.
Yeah, it's turning into it. All right, man. You want to hang after so we can take a picture together? How's that feel?
That felt weird a little bit.
It feels kind of weird.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing with people. So
yeah.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Love.
Are we going to actually hang up or?
No, we'll stick here for a second.
All right. What should I do to say goodbye? Like this?
Let's look at each other in silence for 1 minute.
I want you to see this. I did this whole thing in my boxers.
Wow.
See that?
I would have never known.
I know. I'll do basically all of them in my boxers.
Wow. You should have put a suit top on. That'd been funnier when you should have fucking done. You should have said, all right, bye, and got up and left and have no pants, just your bare ass.
I'll do that next time.
You would have lost me. If you would have just, and you still keep your headphones on, they just kind of rip off your head.
I'll do that next time. I'll do it next time. Hey, I promise.
Yeah. All right.
Love you, buddy. Love you, buddy.
All right, man.
Bye.
Bye.